I am recording
How are you?
now. All right, awesome. This is the part of the episode where we forget how to do the episode. It's
Woo!
fine. While certain Harry Potter creators are busy being dusty and transphobic, the nerds take time this episode to honor their magically unproblematic fandom faves, Team Starkid and their sister troupe, or brother troupe, the Tin Can Brothers. From Batman to Bandit Kings, the Stone Age to Star Wars, we're talking about everything that makes Starkid absolutely out of this world. Caroline's already used up her Starkid trivia back in episode 11. Eli understands Paul from the guy who didn't like musicals on a spiritual level, and both are total nerds. Woo!
I forgot what episode 11 was, so I had to really quickly go back and check that.
That was the music one.
Yay.
You know, it's a good reminder for the listeners as well, assuming that they're sticking with us.
Yeah, if you're trying to mark the continuity of this podcast, episode 11 was during August, and it was the music one.
Alright, let's try to do the thing that we always try to do, and sometimes semi-succeed at. 3, 2, 1, hey nerd!
Hey, that was pretty good. That didn't sound terrible.
Sure. Yeah, alright, my name is Caroline or Care. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
My name is Eli, and my pronouns are they, them, theirs. And it's Hey Nerd.
This is Hey Nerd!
This is Hey Nerd. You're back again.
It's our podcast.
Or maybe you're new.
We do.
If you're new, hello.
Yeah! We're doing some stuff. It's a Friday, y'all. It's a Friday. We're recording this on Friday the 13th. And, you know, maybe that'll reflect in this episode. Maybe listening to this episode will curse you. I hope not.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just a good disclaimer to have up front.
If a guy in a ski mask shows up at your house after you listen to this episode, we're sorry, and you should probably run. That's my advice to you. That is Friday the 13th movies, correct?
Friday the 13th is the ones at the summer camp, so I don't know. It's a fucking slasher movie.
Yeah, it's one of them.
It's for sure one of them. I don't watch horror movies, so I really can't speak to that.
A callback to our horror episode, which was episode 9, I want to say.
I really want to say 9
feeling good
as
on
well.
9.
I think it was 9.
Okay.
Probably. Anyway, the Brendan question.
Anyway, the episode. This episode.
Anyway, back to the episode.
Episodes.
Again, it's you know, it's the Friday and neither of us have done any, like, actual put effort into things today. For reasons I guess we'll talk about. So the Brendan question this week is, if you, this is gonna be really specific and weird.
Go
if
for it.
If you could be described as any, like, lo-fi adjective, like jazz hop or chill hop or synth or whatever, what would you be and why? I think you could just put anything and then put hop after it if you really want. I don't know how that genre works.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know how to explain this. It's not a lo-fi adjective, it is a type of lo-fi. I am breaking the question, I'm going around it.
Yes.
I would be the type of lo-fi where it's like, it takes a normal internet conversation, right, that people are having, and then puts it on lo-fi, so you're listening to people talk over lo-fi. And the example that I have for this is that the Game Grumps will occasionally do this thing where they just, like, take their episodes and turn it into, like, a lo-fi stream that's, like, 3 hours long. And I don't know. I find it very hard to listen to music and defocus, but very easy to listen to just people talking and stop paying attention to them. So that's my brain, for some reason, if you put a bunch of words into it, it just is like, cool, no words processed at all. I can turn off. It's good. Someone else is doing the word making for me. So I really like that kind of lo-fi where there's enough speaking in it that my brain can turn off, but it's still like lo-fi, so it's kind of in that chill genre. I don't know what it's called, but I guess spoken lo-fi?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my answer. Yeah. That's where I'm feeling.
Oh god, slam poetry lo-fi would be such a trip to listen to.
Oh no, all that emotional intensity just chilled the way the hell down. It's like a low simmer.
And it's like, I think, yeah, you could, someone's probably put, like,
I think that's just
Brian
a poetry
David Gilbert
reading.
from,
I think we've just described a poetry reading.
I don't know. ooh, even better than that, Brian David Gilbert's, like, really intense moments from Unraveled, but just with a lo-fi filter on it. I'm pretty sure I've heard, like, intense samples on lo-fi songs before, but I don't know. Yeah, if I were a lo-fi adjective, I think, right now, probably the best way to be would just be jazz hop, because I think we're just kind of improvising all over this, and none of it really makes sense. Much of this will be silly. But, you know, we're just bopping along, making some music, throwing out some notes on a very loose framework. I also don't know how jazz works, if that wasn't clear.
Yeah, in case you guys forgot, Kara and I both have limited experience with piano, and that's kind of it. Yeah. That's, like, the extent of our musical knowledge. But yeah, I've talked to a jazz kid a couple times. More than a couple times, but...
Yeah, we both know Esri. Shout out to Esri. So yeah, anyway. Moving on from the Brendan question into our next segment that started out kind of unofficially, but has now just become a Hey Nerds staple.
Yes.
You got any weekly anecdotes, bud?
I do. I think we have a shared weekly anecdote, actually, of something that we did this week.
It's more like an hourly anecdote. That happened, like, what?
That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, we can talk about that. I'm talking about the fact that you and I, since the last episode, I'm pretty sure, have collaboratively made D&D characters that correspond to each other.
Oh, yeah!
I think that happened since the last episode, right? Like, that's...
Time isn't real anymore, fuck it.
Fair enough. It happened since the last episode because it happened 2 sessions ago in your campaign, is how I'm marking time. Time is only real in relative to the campaign that Caroline's running. But yeah, we made two little Asmar peoples.
Yes.
I guess they're below average height, both of them, but they're not that. They're like 5 foot something.
Hey, my character's baby. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. She is all of 5 foot. Is she 5'4"? She's still fucking taller than me. God damn it. Hey, I'm 5'3"3/4, so, you know, I'm getting there.
I think we've officially reached the same height, because I'm also 5'3"3/4, so you caught up.
What?
Yeah.
Damn!
It's all the coffee I drink. I can't get any taller. I've reached the height limit.
Wait, so did you shrink, or have you just been lying about your height
No,
being 5'4" this whole
I'm sorry,
time?
I'm like 5'3" and 7/8 inches, and so, like, for practicality's sake, I am 5'4". Like, to say that I was 5'3" and 7/8 inches, that's pretentious as hell, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm 5'4", but every time I go to the doctor, they're like, yeah, you're practically 5'4", but we're gonna say 5'3.78", and I was like, why, though?
So I'm 5'3.75", which means I still have 0.03 to get.
Yeah, I guess if I was 7/8, I would be like 0.825? 0.875. You got 0.125 inches to grow.
God fucking damn it. Alright, well I guess I gotta get on that. Hold on, let me go.
Increase the length of your spine.
Yeah, it's like what? It's a sliver of an extra vertebrae.
We're practically the same height. Yeah. Like, I think that we can just say we're the same height and not be lying about it, because, like, what is 1/8 of an inch, really? Really? What is it?
What is...
That's less than a centimeter?
Yeah, sure. But anyway, I mean, we may be almost the same height. Our characters for sure are not.
Our characters for sure are not, yeah. I was like, so the characters were by birth, identical twins. I don't know, I had some questions actually about your character, but would you, as your character, consider yourself to be a trans person? Just because I know not all non-binary identities also identify as trans. I happen to, but...
Yeah. I just listened to a podcast kind of about this. Shout out to Reed University for having someone who did a thesis on gender. I think it was like, gender experience at Reed. Like, did a whole thesis on, like, gender stuff, basically. And so that was where I kind of heard the term, like, yesterday, basically. Cis but non-binary, I think. Or, like, yeah. So I think my character uses she, they pronouns, because I was like, I don't know, it was the vibe I was getting. I don't know how else to explain it, but I was like, this is not a person who only uses she, her. This does not make sense to me. My little space baby. And so, yeah, I think non-binary, but, like, still kind of chilling. Like, she still aligns with, like, her assigned gender. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, to explain why I asked that question, one character is, like, trans, female to male. That's my character. His name is Atlas. I guess my name is that. It's very weird talking about a character who's like, you also inhabit. I guess, yeah, so I will be using the third person because I don't want to, like, have to go into role-playing headspace and then come back out. I like your rainbow bracelet.
Oh, thank you. Mojo made it for me.
Yee. So, right. His name is Atlas. He's a warlock who's got a whole bunch of issues and is dealing with none of them well.
So good!
But yeah, he's trans because I have never played a non-trans D&D character, and I don't intend to in the near future. But yeah, it was just very fun to, like, make a character in concert with someone else, because all of my characters kind of exist in their own worlds, and they're very complicated own worlds, but in a world that's removed from everyone. So yeah, it was just fun to sit down. Yeah. We had an almost podcast-length Skype call about our characters.
We did. We just talked about them for an extended period of time. It was so wonderful. Yeah, no, and I guess, just to kind of back that up, my kind of complimentary character is, a cleric, who's, like, 5'3", and again, kind of mostly aligns with her, like, assigned gender. And so, like, yeah, these people who are technically identical twins, but I basically did, like, an Adventure Zone Taco and Loop situation where it was like, yeah, they're identical, but one of them's trans. Like, or I guess more, like... What? Yeah.
Yeah. They're both on the spectrum, but one of them is, like, way down at the other end, like, see ya, fuck this, fucking woman, I'm going to leave.
Yeah, one was like, I'm just gonna scooch, like, a bit to the left and just be, like, a teensy bit more ambiguous. And the other person's like, fuck that! And just went, yoink!
Yoinked all the way down the spectrum. Yeah, but also, like, you know, it's two people who have dealt with the same tragedy in very different ways, where one of Kara's character was like, this terrible thing has happened to me. I'm going to go into seminary and become a functional person. And my character was like, education? Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna go just wander the continent for 5 years on some sort of quest for something. See ya!
Bye! Gonna go get on magical HRT. Yep. Woo!
Find a way.
Yeah, no, it's very fun.
But I would say there are no these characters have no campaign. So
they don't.
If anyone out there is like, I want to play D&D with these two assholes, and I am willing to DM, or I know someone who's willing to DM, you know our email, you know where you can reach out to us.
And it's, if you don't know our email, hey, guess what, guys? It's heynerdpodcast@gmail.com. It's just the name of the show, then plus, like, what the show is, and then it's at Gmail. Just go to Gmail. Yeah. That's all you gotta do.
It's even in the descriptions of all of our episodes on all the places. We put it everywhere.
It's gonna be on the timestamp, Doc, which is I'm gonna catch up on those at some point. Fucking, maybe. Senior year's hard.
Senior year is a time.
It is a time. Yeah, no, my character, I would argue against the functional point. Also, I'm watching Winona Earp, and not to bring that into every conversation, but I'm going to. It's a fucking Winona Earp situation. You made Winona, and then I made Waverly on accident, completely. Like, I just realized, like, fuck. That's pretty much what fucking happened. Oh no. So anyway, so yeah, I guess for my turn, yeah, like, that was a really nice weekly anecdote, which is, like, a thing that we shared an activity, and it was very good, and, like, a good creative outlet and stuff. And then my weekly anecdote is, I ate spaghetti for breakfast this morning.
Good to know. Was this your first foray into spaghetti for breakfast?
I mean, I may have done it before. I don't fucking remember. There's a certain assonance in, like, spaghetti and then also breakfast, and so, like, that was a nice internal kind of rhyme situation going on. I also just woke up super early and was like, well, we don't have any, like, microwavable breakfast sandwiches. I don't feel like making an egg. We have leftovers. Hot diggity damn. Breakfast with protein. It's spaghetti.
It is a solution. Modern problems require modern solutions.
Yeah, my dad came downstairs and was very concerned, and then my mom apparently came downstairs after that and talked to my dad about it, and now they're both very concerned, and she's like, why don't you just eat cereal like a normal person? And I'm like, you literally did not let us have cereal as children because you were like, that's not enough protein to get through the day, that's basically just sugar. And now she's like fucking flipped over it because she's bought too much cereal and needs someone else.
So you were just flat out not allowed to have cereal?
Well, it was not allowed to have sugary cereal, and then beyond that, it was like boring grown-up cereal with fucking fiber in it that
disgusting.
Children don't eat, like. So yeah, we just like didn't have cereal because it was like it was like my mom was like, this is not substantial enough. But now she's fucking changed her tune and expects me to fucking switch on a dime. But yeah, all of that to say, I woke up very early because I've gotten back into the junior year habit of waking up super early to do assignments. So now I'm one of those monsters that gets up at like 5:30.
Disgusting. I get up at 6 o'clock, so I don't know how much less
before that I got up at 6:15, but to be fair, our school starts at basically 8. Before 8, actually. It's inhumane.
A schmidge before 8.
Because
we're the art school, so we gotta do more hours of education, I guess.
We're like, if you're gonna fucking teach these kids art, you better be fucking teaching these kids art. Like, you gotta go hard or don't do it at all.
I don't know, for some reason my brain was just like, you should say darn tootin' as soon as Care stops speaking. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that, but I am going to make reference to the fact that my brain said I should do it. Oh, I guess
that's it. That, honestly, we should put that on a t-shirt. My brain said I should say darn tootin' right after you said it.
That's our most Texas t-shirt yet, probably.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just one of those people who, like, prefers going to bed early and then getting up earlier to make up for it instead of, like, staying up really late and then sleeping in. Because one feels a lot more like prolonged torture, and the other one is just like, once you're up, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. But with, like, I think staying up late, it's just pushing on endlessly into misery until it's, like, the late night number, and you're like, fucking, I gotta sleep now. But getting up early for some reason is different to me. I don't know. I managed to catch myself, I think, right as I'm exiting REM, right in the sweet spot of, like, okay, my brain doesn't need to be dreaming anymore. So I can do this fine. So yeah, spaghetti breakfast.
Yeah, I think I'm the opposite way. I find no issue with, like, staying up until the wee hours of the morning. But also, I wake up early and it's fine. I think my body has just adapted to less sleep and I'm on borrowed time and that bill's gonna come due someday, but until it does, it's not my fucking problem.
You're making it sound like you sold your fucking soul.
I did. I sold it to the sleep demons, so I could stay up real late and get up early and be fine. But I don't know why I'm like this, but for some reason I am. I like to go to sleep late and wake up early, and that's gonna be a problem someday, but it's not a problem yet. My immune system is still strong enough to avoid that becoming an issue. But I was gonna say, on the subject of viciously Texan things, today my dad got mad at me for doing accents.
Oh no. What?
So, the thing is, when I like to toy around with accents, partially because I'm a DM, and also because, like, when I'm making a new character, I like to come up with their voice, because, like, I think in character voices. And so I've been throwing around ideas for what I would want Atlas to sound like all week. And so I've just been talking in these voices, and today we had a letter from Lizzie Fletcher, and I was talking in this, like, slightly British affect, because I was like, well, what would this sound like? And my dad was like, why is a representative from Texas being read by a Texan, a British member of parliament? And I was like, alright, Dad, you're mad at that? Cool. And so I went as hard Texan as I could, just to spite him. So I was like, I went from, what was it? It was like, blah, 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 give me something to say, and I will say it in both accents.
You can't fucking...
You can't fucking...
Oh god.
Oh god.
I don't fucking know.
I don't fucking know.
Say thanks to sawsquarenoise, I guess.
Alright, so...
We should probably do that.
Yeah, so one accent was like, what was it? I'm doing a harder version, but it was like, I would say, like, thanks to sawsquarenoise for the music from the Free Music Archive, and my dad was, this is the accent my dad hated, and so I was like, alright, thanks to sawsquarenoise for their music from the Free Music Archive, for the use of it in our podcast, and I went as, like, hard and, like, bad and just disgustingly poorly Southern, and my dad, and I was like, are you happy? Are you happy, father? Have I pleased you, sir? And I don't know if that dissuaded him from critiquing my accents, but he certainly did not comment on them for the rest of dinner, so I guess I won in that respect.
I just literally collapsed. That was very good. Oh shit. Yeah, it's very... Doing Southern accents is like half the fun of being Southern. Probably 3/4 of it, if I'm being honest.
It's one of the few good things.
It's one of the few good things. We take the good shit where we can get it. Yeah, that's so good. Oh my god, this is just fucking... So, I'm guessing he wasn't the kind... Was it just that it was, like, the wrong accent, or did your dad would fucking hate my campaign? Holy shit!
I don't know, because he likes accents. I think he doesn't like it when I'm doing accents, when he's trying to have a normal conversation with I think it's the cognitive dissonance of, like, looking at your child and having them talk, like, not how they normally talk. But also, like, when he was a DM, he apparently didn't do accents. He would do, like, levels of gruffness where I'm like, cool, my measure is how British is this person right now? Or I guess, like, more just UK in general, because there's a little bit of Irish in every one of my characters. I think it's a cognitive dissonance of looking at me and then not my voice coming out of my mouth when he's trying to talk to me.
Nice. Forgot, we may have mentioned this already, but my whole thing with accents is giving accents to characters who are not supposed to have that accent.
All the Cares goblins sound like posh British schoolboys. And so we get into a fight with them, and then I'll do something stupid, like just start having a conversation, and I'm affronted with, like, British schoolboy, and my brain turns off.
That's what it fucking is. And then, you know, oh goddamn. I mean, I think Lord of the Rings would be vastly improved if we just had a bunch of, like, strong southern twangs from the Council of Elrond. But apparently, maybe your dad would disagree with my assessment of elves as British. I don't know. I think it's time that Texas had a little bit of love from, you know, high fantasy. Like, why do the Scottish get all the fun? I ask you.
I feel like it's because Texas is kind of one of the accents that cornered the market on the Western. Like, it's part of that continuum of just, like, hell yeah, we're out in the West shooting things, getting drunk, and making bad decisions. That's what Westerns are. I write Westerns, and that's what I say they are.
Fucking put some dwarves in there then, bro! Like, I don't know, dwarves would be into guns, and they're also into mining. Yeah, alright. Yeah, that's my treatise on it. Or, you know, just fucking, like, it weirds me out, it's like, they're all British, all of them. Like, no one's German, or French.
There was no linguistic dissimilarity because of borders, even though borders fully exist in Lord of the Rings. As do mountains, which is where most, now that I'm, like, talking about it, that's where most accentation, we're gonna use that as the formation of accents, comes from. Is you divide people by a mountain, and then they're like, we talk different now.
Two lovers split from one another, a war divides their people, and a mountain divides them apart. I mean, we've teed up the graceless segue nicely.
Yeah. Speaking of heading west.
Holy shit.
Speaking of it's been 24 minutes. Speaking of heading west, we're going west, we're in a covered wagon, and we're doing a backflip onto our horse to talk about the makers of not only Trail to Oregon, but a whole bunch of wonderful pop culture-based productions. It's the Starkid episode, and I meant to say this, for having written that description as recently as you did, you packed a lot of puns into that, and I am very proud of it.
That's what I fucking do, baby! That is kind of my thing. That is kind of my jam. You know, such is the nature of my oeuvre. I'm never saying that word again. Fuck that.
ooh, the fringe popped out and it was not pleasant.
Alright, Eli does not like the French accent. Duly noted. Next session's gonna be interesting.
No, I'm not gonna say that. I can't make that joke.
What?
I was gonna make, like, the joke about, the general disdain I have for the French, and then I was like, but the people don't have the context for that.
You can discuss how much you hate French on this podcast.
Yeah.
One of the people who listens to this is well fucking aware, and apparently has used my agreement with Spanish being the superior language in arguments with her French-Canadian girlfriend. So, fucking go for it.
Cool. I mean, I'll just say, I took French for 4 years, I hated every second of it, and I make fun of the French people a lot, because they made that language that put me through that. So that's what I'll say. So yeah, I make jokes about hating the French. I actually don't really have an opinion on the French people, but their language made me suffer, and so I take it out on them.
Yeah, and they've made themselves suffer with their language, because guess what I learned in linguistics camp? They've had fucking opportunities to change it and make it easier to learn, and they're like, we will keep the complicated orthography. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because other people have changed the French language to make it similar, and then the French are
French people have tried to change the French language, and...
But then they went to, what is it, Switzerland? And that's why the Swiss use a normal numbering system, while the regular old French use their completely fucked numbering system.
I don't know, I just read an article on French and German orthography, and apparently it's come up several times, and each single... It's French linguists, and people who really do know a lot about language being like, hey, we could make this easier to learn. And all the French being like, absolutely fucking not. We hate it. No, take it back.
We will take language. It will be our language.
No, we want... And one of the reasons is, if we had to suffer to learn how to spell this shit, so too will the rest of the future, because fuck those kids.
If we had to toil under this language, our children will too. No improvement, only pain. We're talking about Starkid, and we've gotten immediately off track, which is very in the nature of Starkid, I feel like.
Yes. Anyway. So Starkid. I mean, I've kind of already mentioned my personal history, but that was 5 episodes ago, and even longer amount of time. If you don't want to go fucking find the episode 11 bit where I talk about my introduction to Starkid, basically, kind of early-ish YouTube, had my little iPod Touch, got on the YouTube app, babysitter showed me Potter Puppet Pals, from there, natural progression, got into Very Potter Musical. I don't think I ever watched this thing the whole way through, because I was like, this is chopped up into pieces and is probably a bootleg. It wasn't a bootleg, that was just the camera quality they had back then.
That's just how it went in the late 2000s.
Still liked enough of it that I ended up writing a kind of parody musical of it, when I was 8-ish.
Yes.
And it was a whole thing gonna be a production, and it's, looking back, was very derivative. Probably could have been called plagiarism, by someone who is maybe a little more academically invested in preserving the sanctity of parody musicals put on the internet in 2009.
Yep. That very niche academic pursuit.
Yeah, the draft has since been lost to time, unfortunately. But... yeah, that's kind of my intro to Starkid. I got more into it, I think, as middle school approached, and I actually watched it all the way through, and I liked it. It was good.
Ooh. So there's some things in my history with Starkid. The person who I did not know Starkid and A Very Potter Musical together. I was introduced to A Very Potter Musical by someone with whom my relationship has since devolved to nothing, in a kind of explosive way. But she was very into A Very Potter Musical. She, watched it. I think she rewatched it, at least twice a year. She, when they went on tour, she saw them live performing. And so she was like, you should watch this. And I was like, okay. And I watched, kind of similarly, I watched, the first couple, scenes, and then I couldn't really get into it. I think that it's just, I have a hard time consuming long-form media. I either get really into it and I can go through it, or I have to be watching it with someone else. Because my brain is just yeah, this isn't interesting, and then, because I'm not a completionist, I have no motivation to finish the things that don't interest my brain, as we kind of discussed in the video game episode. So then I didn't watch Starkid for a really long time, and then I think I got back into it because of you, because we went over to Shelby's house to film, I think it was when we were filming, no, it wouldn't have been when we were filming, maybe it was? We were filming Mission Improbable, which is
Incompetence.
Mission Incompetence. Mission Improbable is a thing from my elementary school, we don't need to talk about. It's fine.
Now we do. What the fuck?
It was in elementary school. It was this, like, plot idea that I had where it was, like, Mission Impossible. I'd never seen Mission Impossible. I had no idea what Mission Impossible was.
Me neither.
But I was like, my idea was Mission Improbable, which is, like, a spy film, but instead of, like, any actual spy stuff happening, it's just, like, Milo, like, things just go wrong. Anything that should happen, like, shouldn't happen, does happen. So it was Mission Improbable. And there was, like, gonna be some math aspect to it. I don't know. I barely remember. But it was a thing that I had in my head in elementary school, and then it went away with time. But I think it was when we were filming Mission Incompetence, a parody video in its own right, that, like, we watched, I believe, Spies Are Forever.
Yep.
You, Shelby, and I. And I went home and watched it, and I guessed the ending, and I remember that that was the beginning of the joke that I have the uncanny ability to guess endings, which I guess is kind of true, but very funny. And then I just got back into Starkid because of that. I finished Spies Are Forever, I watched, the Solve It Squad, and then I went over to Starkid, and watched a couple of their things. I haven't seen that much Starkid all the way through. Again, long-form media is hard for me to consume because, I don't know, it just is. But the ones that I have seen all the way through are very good, and the ones that I've only seen parts of, I really like the parts that I was watching, but I couldn't get into it enough to keep watching. It wasn't, it wasn't Spies Are Forever that we watched together first. It was at your house. I remember this, actually. It was at your house. It was you, me, and Mariah, and we watched The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, because we were just hanging out. And then you, again, when we were filming Mission Incompetence, we watched Spies Are Forever, and then I got into Starkid. So... just add watching The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals in front of that whole story of things, and that's my history with Starkid.
Nice. Awesome. So yet another comedy. I guess I'm glad that we're on the same wavelength about media we like. I did not know that you got into Starkid because of me. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Starkid is very fun. I think, God, there is a muddy part of this history where I don't know, at some point I figured out Darren Criss was on Glee, and so that maybe sent me back to Starkid, or maybe I went to Glee because Darren Criss was on it and I recognized him from Starkid. I cannot remember. But yeah, I did also, Darren Criss being on Glee was a big part of my watching that show. We don't need to talk about what happened season 4 onwards. It's fine. It ended at season 3.
Cool. I'll take your word for it. I have never seen an episode of Glee my whole life. I've avoided it, and I continue to avoid it.
Picture, if you will, someone doing a very heartfelt, heartbroken, rendition of Teenage Dream in the middle of a crowded bar on an acoustic piano while crying and looking at their boyfriend who they've just cheated on. And that... It's not an exaggeration, that's what happens.
Or is that the mood from season 4 onward?
No, that happens in season 4. That is one of the big things that happens in season 4.
God. Sounds like I made the right decision by staying away from it.
Yeah. I mean, up to season 3, it's pretty decent. We're not here to talk about Glee, though. That's its own fucking thing. But yeah, no, it was just like fun little comedy musicals. I think I have seen all of the... that's a lie. I've seen all of the Starkid musicals, except for, I think, the one that came before a Harry Potter musical, or the one that directly after, which was Me and My Dick. Haven't watched that one all the way through. Mostly because, like, when I tried to watch it for the first time, a lot of, not the whole thing, but, like, a lot of parts of it were, like, age-blocked for me, and I was just like, meh. I just didn't give enough of a shit to, like, try and watch it again. But yeah, no, so yeah, it was just kind of like, I think I have a fairly extensive knowledge. I don't know, they're good beans, and I like them.
I think I've seen some of every Starkid musical, I believe, and I know the general plots of all of them, but I think that I've just not seen, like, every minute of every musical. Sorry if you had to suffer through that noise, if I forgot to cut it out when I was editing. And if you didn't hear anything, then don't worry about it. What am I talking about? It's fine.
Don't even worry about it. It's all fine. Yeah, so I guess, do we want to maybe talk about...
Do you want to go through them? And there's, like, a clear delineation of when things came out, if we just wanted to go that way.
I can literally go onto their website, because they have them in order.
I mean, of course, the first one, I believe that, yeah, the first thing that they've ever put out was a Harry Potter musical. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure.
I believe so. There is actually, I believe, a musical that never fully got aired because some of the files or the audio got corrupted or something. Mm-hmm. But they did do a Lord of the Rings parody musical, like, way, way back. I think before even a Harry Potter musical. And I think Lauren Lopez played Gollum, or perhaps... No, I think she played Frodo. I think that was it. Mm-hmm. And then someone else played Gollum. So there's, like, a very brief clip from it in, like, one of the promotional things they put out of, like, here's a fun fact. But yeah, no, there was... That may have been the first thing they ever did, but I think a Harry Potter musical was certainly the one that catapulted them into fame. Mm-hmm. And it was, like... Yeah, it was, I think, maybe their first production to be put on YouTube. So yeah, it was very impressive. It's a real good parody musical. Again, it looks like it's filmed on a potato, because that was the kind of quality camera equipment they had in 2009, being broke college students at University of Michigan. But, it's good.
You take what you can get.
Yeah.
It's also, they were not I think that they weren't mic'd for that, or they were mic'd kind of badly, so that's another reason why it's like that, is because the audio is also, like, they're performing in a small college theater, you don't really need a mic, but the flip side of that is that cameras are worse than human ears at picking up sound, which is why it's like that.
Yeah, that would explain why it sounds like they're shouting all of their lines. They deliver them well, but they are all very much yelled at you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no
it's
mics,
just kind
no
of
problems.
Yeah, it's great. I think probably one of my favorite bits from that is just Ron walking in and just eating progressively larger, like, snack foods. Mm-hmm. Just, at one point he just has a really big, like, fucking humongous 2-foot by 1-foot Hershey's bar that he's just, like, fully taking bites out of as he walks across the stage. Mm-hmm. And it's great. And I think one of the band members gives him like a snack right as he's like, god damn it, there are no more snacks.
I'm pretty sure that it's Red Vines, and then Red Vines became, like, a thing.
That's in a Harry Potter sequel.
No, but I'm pretty sure that they do hand him, like, Red Vines in that scene, and then that's why it showed up so much in a Harry Potter sequel.
It showed up in a Harry Potter sequel so much because one of the first show's fans wrote them and was like, hey, my dad works for Red Vines, do you want to do a sponsorship deal? And they didn't agree to do it, but they did decide to put it in the show.
It's just free. It's free advertising.
It was just free advertising for Red Vines for some reason, which is very funny. But yeah, it's really great, and not transphobic, which is also great. And
that's very cool.
Also, I unironically love the love story between Quirrell and Voldemort that plays out. It's very good.
Better homosexual representation than the entirety of the actual Harry Potter series.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, why have one kinda closet gay fucker who just... Dumbledore kinda, in terms of, like, old wizards who do cool shit, between him and Gandalf, like, Gandalf wins. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm gonna fucking say. Dumbledore
Gandalf
kind of
fully came back from the dead, just kind of resurrected himself, and he was like, I do that. It's fine. Don't worry about
fucking Gandalf died and glowed up. Like, that's what he did. That's what he decided. He fought Satan and came back with plucked eyebrows. Your fave could never. Except for my fave, because my fave is Gandalf.
Unless your fave is Gandalf, in which case he could.
He couldn't, he did. The fucking legend.
Truly.
God, I really hope they do a Lord of the Rings thing ever. I would definitely watch it. But yeah, they have a very, like, they have like a little odd couple musical number. They're shuffling around together to do the Quirrell Voldemort effects that is just really not replicable on stage, but it works very well as physical comedy. And like, there's the ending scene where it's like, oh, Quirrell's been, framed and sent to Azkaban, and then Voldemort's kinda dead, but also not really, in that kind of bullshit way that people are sometimes dead, but not really. Yeah. And Quirrell's like, you came back. And Voldemort's like, I came home. And I was like, this is the fucking best. I love it. It makes me feel feelings. And it's the fucking, like, joke romance between Joe Walker with fucking contour out the ass and fucking... Oh god, I'm completely blanking on it. Brian Rosenthal, fucking in basically a nightgown, is basically what he's wearing in that prison scene, in a striped nightgown. And it makes me feel feelings. Another pairing from this, like, Potter verse of musicals that should not make me be as emotional as it does is the relationship that is kind of mentioned in a Harry Potter musical and then fully explored on screen throughout a Harry Potter sequel and a Harry Potter senior year, which is between the Sorting Hat and the Scarf of Sexual Preference. That shit rules!
That's so funny.
It's so funny, but it's also, like, very touching. Like, I think Nick Lang is the one doing the puppeteering for both of them. He's just behind a desk for most of it and just, like, doing little puppet gestures, and it's very great. They have, I'm gonna say this, it's definitely more gay kisses than there were in all of Harry Potter combined, certainly more than there were in the Lord of the Rings film series, and it's just, I didn't know that I needed queer representation in the form of a hat and a scarf, smooching on screen, or on stage, but it's very sweet, and, like, very well done. And also, they explicitly mention in the musicals that Dumbledore is gay, and that maybe Tom Riddle is too? Who knows? But it's very fun. I don't know, he skips around on Harry Potter senior year. Huh?
Doesn't Tom Riddle, like, also, he knows how to tap dance, and that's, like, just a thing that is true, and we're like, yeah, this is part of his character.
He super knows how to tap dance, he wears a cape, he's tapping around shirtless for, like, most of his scenes that he does. Yeah, Joe Walker, phenomenal dude. I remember I showed the Harry Potter musicals to, my 2 middle school friends, and I remember them being like, Joe Walker as Umbridge in a dress and wig is making me feel very confused, and I think I remember from recent news that I've had of them, since we haven't really kept in touch, I've recently found out both of them are queer. I think both of them are trans, but, like, both of them, I think, are, both of them are queer in some way, and I was like, I like to think I had a hand in helping them figure that out.
You were the scarf of sexual...
Listen, that's just queer childhood in a nutshell. It's just being everyone else's, like, scarf of sexual preference. It's just helping each other out. Helping each other figure out shit from watching musicals where people do drag. And I think in that one, Dolores Umbridge also does do a very, some kind of southern accent. It's great.
I have no idea. There is an accent. I don't know if it's from any part of the country. Or if
I don't know either.
Exists.
It's a voice.
It's just kind of Joe Walker having a time, and I love it so much. He's a really great character. Also the Snape voice in all of those.
Joe Moses.
Incredible.
Good shit. Good
but
shit.
Yeah. No, but you can also really see, like, especially in a Harry Potter musical, that it's very clearly just, like, a bunch of college students are just having fun. Like, you know, at that point you can tell, like, there was no ambition behind it, which is, like, they just have a Zac Efron poster that they're making jokes about, and it's, like, a plot point. And, but yeah, I think that's what's very great about, I think that's why a Harry Potter musical has held its place as, like, the favorite of the Starkid musicals, is because it's so clearly just, like, people fucking around and having a good time, and how can you not enjoy that?
Also because it is, I think, of all the musicals, tucked safely away in the nostalgia box of so many of our brains. It's very good. A lot of people don't like a Harry Potter sequel. I will say that, Coolest Girl is, one of my fave songs. I love it. And also just, like, Lupin doing anything in that musical is such a joy. Oh, he's so I just love
the
it's a consistent thing where they take characters who should not be alcoholics and they make them very drunk for most of it, and it's very good. Speaking of that, so we had a whole Star Wars episode. And I've mentioned that the extent of my Star Wars knowledge is basically Obi-Wan Kenobi from Annie, a parody musical, drunkenly reciting the plot of the Clone Wars. And then I talked to y'all about it, and I was kind of surprised how much of it was accurate.
I mean, he's not wrong. They didn't need to play up how boring it was for comedic effect. That is the Clone Wars. It's a lot of Trade Federation bullshit, and then you're just kind of like, but why? But why do I need to know that? Is that the one where also... Yeah. It's also the one where, like, you have a full clone factory, and it's never really addressed, like, the fucked up implications of that. They were just like, yeah, it's 1,000 clones. and we're not going to talk about how this is, like, morally questionable as hell, and why are the Jedi doing this, and what the fuck.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's very troubling ethical questions over in the Star Wars universe. In Annie, a parody, Darth Vader's like, hey, we should make 2 Death Stars, because then they'll look like boobs. And that's... he calls Palpatine Pappy? Palpatine calls himself Pappy? Like an old Southern grandpa?
Also, like, you know, Jar Jar Binks and all his issues are just kind of up for display in that, including
Moff Tarkin keeps getting called Muff Tarkin, much to his own chagrin. There's a lot of stuff that's good in that musical. It was more experimental because it was like they didn't do any live singing on stage. They just had the band off to the side doing the songs. But I will say this, listening to the fucking songs gets me pumped up as shit. There's some good, like, 80s style cheesy bops on there that I absolutely love listening to. You Got the Force played in my head over and over as I was taking the PSAT. I scored the worst I've ever scored on the PSAT that year, so make of that what you will.
So you don't have the Force, clearly.
I did not have the fucking Force. Or the Force is very bad at algebra.
The Force is like the most hand-wavy form of, like, science.
Yeah. Isn't the Force magic?
Oh, the Clone Wars, they tried to put science on it, and they were like, okay, yeah, we know it's magic, but, like, what if there were just tiny little particles that were the Force, and everyone was like, I hate that, please never do that again, which is why you don't see midichlorians come up in any of the non-prequel movies, because everyone hated that forever.
Cursed bastard question about the Star Wars universe, if you would.
I'm not an expert, but yeah, go.
Okay, I don't think you need to be. So if the Force is available in tiny little, like, particles / crystals in the air.
Yep.
Could one huff them? Can you snort the Force?
So I don't think you can, like, collect the Force. It's weird, because it's, like, it's a particle, but also people have, like, no control over how much of it there is in any one place. If you could huff just, like, I guess if you would, like, figure out a way to just huff oxygen from the air, then yeah, sure, you could huff the Force. But also,
so the
like,
Force only gets snorted when the Force wants to be snorted.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me.
Of
if
course.
The universe willed it to be so.
Yes. I'm also pretty sure that there's, like, you know, there's enough other drugs that just exist in the Star Wars universe that I'm pretty sure no one's ever really needed to huff the Force.
Yeah, from that one episode of Game Changer, or not Game, actually, that I've seen, isn't one of their drugs called death sticks?
Could be. That sounds possible.
Great.
And of course, there's the most common drug in every sci-fi, spice, because for some reason, you know, Frank Herbert was like, spice is the name of a drug, and every other sci-fi writer was like, hell yeah, I can get on board with that, brother! And now it's just like the most universal name for a drug in sci-fi is like, this is spice, and it's not derivative of Dune, except it absolutely is. Thank you. Good night. Kill Carol.
Eli saying hell yeah, brother, for me. What the fuck? Oh god.
Glad to know that that's one of your Achilles heels, is just me saying that.
I just didn't fucking expect it. Oh god damn. Because it's just so fucking funny. I barely hear people in my real life fucking say that. Jesus. Anywho.
I'm like not a part of your real life.
You're on a screen. You are trapped in my computer.
Wow, okay. Feel invalidated, but alright.
I mean, you're valid, you're also just trapped in this tiny picture box and you can't get out.
That's true.
For whatever reason, and I don't know how to free you. Fucking F8, maybe?
No.
That didn't fucking do anything. Well, I hit F8. Oh no! That didn't do what I wanted it to do. That's what I get for hitting a button on a computer without checking to see what it does. It's fine. It made a menu pop up. I made it go away again. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So that's kind of talking about the Annie a little bit. Harry Potter musicals a little bit. I have seen some of Me and My Dick. I haven't seen all of it. I saw, like, the beginning and the ending, and I kind of dropped down the middle. I know what happened. You know, as an asexual person, gotta say, probably the best thing about genitals that I've ever watched. It's a show that deals a lot with sex, with people having sex, with things going wrong with people having sex. Didn't hate it, so, like, I guess that's high praise from an asexual person? I don't know. But that's kind of my opinion, is, like, as an asexual, it's fine.
That's valid. That's good. Yes. Yeah, I think I've watched maybe, like, fucking 15 minutes total of that show. Seems fine. I don't know. I just have trouble getting into anything that, it's very phallocentric, is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Though it does have the Council of Vaginas, which is, like, something that I was like, what?
I mean, that does happen. Hashtag feminism?
I don't know if that's what you should take away from that, but it is a thing that happens, and it's a very funny thing. I think my favorite thing about that is that they fully named a character Miss Cooter, and they, like, looked at the audience when they said that, and it was like, yeah, this character is named Miss Cooter. Fucking deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
I mean, okay, have you seen Holy Musical Batman?
I have seen Holy Musical. I love Holy Musical Batman. Holy Musical Batman is possibly my favorite Starkid musical. I love it so very much.
Yeah.
It is probably, I think, out of all Batman media, one of the closest that gets to, like, just the hilarious chord that is, man in batsuit fights crime, and everyone's like, sure, yeah, this is a thing that's realistic. But yeah, I love Holy Musical Batman so much.
Yeah, it does I say this as someone who hasn't I've seen barely any DC or Marvel movies. I don't know dick about shit when it comes to comics. I think it does, the Batman-Superman rivalry better than Batman v Superman.
Oh, it definitely does. Yeah, I mean, so as someone who, I did go and I saw Batman vs. Superman in theaters, and I was like, wow, this is bad. I didn't watch very many that was, like, the first, I think, live-action superhero movie I'd ever seen, and it was bad enough that I, on no experience, like, this shit sucks and is bad. But yeah, no, the Batman versus Superman dynamic is very funny. Their song that they sing to each other, I had that stuck in my head during, like, I think during a physics test. So just while I was taking physics, I heard, I'm gonna kick your ass, fuck you. And I was like, this seems like something I should be thinking right now.
Helpful. Who needs equations?
Who needs equations when I have Batman being kicked in the leg by Superman?
Yeah. Also, dynamic duet between Robin and Batman fucking makes my heart happy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very good. It's just them singing about how they're found family for each other. It's very fucking good. That's such a good scene. I also have to say, like, they made one of the most they just made up one of the most Batman villains of all Batman villains. What's his name? Sweet Tooth.
Sweet Tooth's an incredible villain. He's so creepy. Yes. I love him. Why do I keep forgetting names?
Jeff Blim.
Jeff Blim, great actor. Love him so much. He creeps me the fuck out, that entire thing. I'm like, I cannot handle this. If I was in a room, I would have to leave. Like, if I was in the room while this was happening, I would have to leave right then. But he's such an incredible actor, and I love Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth's just, like, speaking about puns out his coat at all times as he just removes more and more candies, just fucking goes for it. But yes. Yeah. Also, there's, like, this is a really small joke, but I think it was very funny. In, like, the Robin Sucks thing, they directly make fun of superhero nerds, making fun of Robin, because they have this, like, great moment where two of these, like, superhero nerds comes out and they're like, Robin ruins the gritty realism of a man in a bat suit fighting crime, which is just, like, I don't know, there was such good meta comedy in that moment. I was like, yes, Starkid. We're on the same wavelength on this one. Yeah.
And Robin's just British for some reason. I don't think he's meant to be British, but he is he's very British.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think that Dick Grayson's Robin, he's from... Okay, So he shouldn't be British. He should be at least mostly like Eastern European, because like in the books and originally he is from the Romani people. That's like who his family is. That's where he comes from. So I think like he should have a European accent. It should not be British. It should be an Eastern European accent. But also just like the fact that he has his suit on underneath like his regular old suit. Like he shows up in a like suit and tie, and then he rips it off to reveal underwear and a Robin costume, and I was like, yeah, that looks about right.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. And it's just Batman being a very, like, childish person throughout all of it, and Alfred's doing his goddamn best.
Alfred's trying so hard. Alfred has to play, like, 2 different characters.
Alfred has to play, like, 4 different characters in that thing. It's very fucking funny. But yeah, no, it's just... Yeah, it's also just very good. It's a very, like, fun... They're all fun musicals, so this one's, like, really fun and high octane. In terms of that. And just, like, all the costuming that they had to do, it was very, very good.
This one, I mean, this musical is very, like... It's just, like, superheroes add so much energy to anything, and it's, like, you know, superheroes plus an already very chaotic group of people is very fun. And very chaotic, differently from Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, which is the other famous superhero musical, and went in a very different direction. And we don't have to talk about it, but I do want to put it out there that, like, every time I think of this Batman musical, I also think of Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
I think Spider-Man does show up in Holy Musical Batman as well. He has a cameo.
Yeah, he's there briefly in the last song, and also I think Batman sends him the Batplane at some point. Like, the old Batplane. There's, like, a new Batplane, and he sent the old Batplane to Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's like, where am I gonna keep this? I live in Queens. Where the fuck do you want me to put a fucking plane?
Fucking do you think I have most of the people here don't own fucking cars. Like...
I'm not fucking Iron Man. I don't have a place to store a plane.
I don't know, he can phone up, oh.
Oh. Ooh.
Too soon? Too soon.
I don't know, it was like a year ago, right? Was it a year ago? No.
Time isn't real.
Yeah, it was a year ago, because it happened pre-quarantine.
And all of life that happened pre-quarantine was a year ago.
Well, it was like, I mean, it came out in May, May pre-quarantine, which has to be over a year ago. At least. And I'm pretty sure it came out last year.
18 months, I think. If it was May of 19, then yes.
Is that right? You know what? I'm gonna say it's right, and, like, if it's wrong, then I'm just wrong, and that's fine.
Hop in the comments. Email us, hatenerdpodcast@gmail.com. Tweet at us at hatenerdpodcast on Twitter.
No, don't.
If you want to flame Eli
for
getting...
Don't. I don't want to get attacked on Twitter.
Flame Eli lovingly about getting a detail about a comic book movie wrong. Because, you know, it's so hard. I know that typically comic book fans are so hard to piss off about, you know, trivia about their favorite franchises. They're just...
No one has ever gotten mad about someone getting a small detail wrong, and it is not like College Humor has made a whole show based off of that concept. Couldn't be true. Not real. Didn't happen.
Not real. Absolutely not. Brain empty, no thought. Hold on.
Should I pick one at random to talk about?
Yeah!
Well, we skipped right over Starship in the continuum.
I will talk about Starship. That's a fucking good musical. It's some good shit. I think we're looking at the same website page.
I mean, I'm on Wikipedia. I'm just fully on Wikipedia, so.
Oh, I'm on their website. Well, I guess the order is the same either way. But yeah, Starship is kind of like if they put Star Trek and also Pocahontas, but in space. Ooh. That's kind of the conceit of it, is like that. It's basically a bug planet of bug people, and one of them, gets in his head to be like an intergalactic ranger, goes out to saving the world, and they're like, you're dreaming too big! You gotta focus on, you know, just staying at home and doing your job. Oh, what is it?
I will say, so this is something that I hadn't read before. According to Wikipedia, they have said that the Starship was inspired by Starship Troopers and The Little Mermaid, which is possibly why it has so many of those themes. Because the more you describe it, the more I'm like, that really does sound like The Little Mermaid. but continue.
Yeah, so anyway. So he's like, you gotta go join this office job, which in, like, Bug Planet terms is, just drone work, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the queen has assigned you. You gotta stick to what you know, all that stuff, and then, kablam, this, like, group of, human, Starship Rangers lands on the planet, and, like, they're kind of getting to know each other and getting to meet each other, and then they see all these, oh wait, no, hold on. Yes. So we get introduced to the Starship Rangers, one of whom is just explicitly based off of Snake from Metal Gear.
Uh-huh.
Except he's, like, very sensitive.
Yeah, he's just a sad boy.
It's Joe Walker being super sensitive, and, like, kind of sad, and, like, just really vulnerable and broken all the time.
Mm-hmm. But also fully Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
I have never played Metal Gear Solid, but I'll trust you on that. And yeah, so he's got that going on. One of them is played by Dylan Saunders, who's such a good man, named Tootsie Noodles, who's a country boy, and I could listen to that man's voice for hours. He's from Farm Planet. And then we got Mega Girl, who's kind of a militant robot, who's like, humanity sucks because they enslaved my people, which is a valid point. Once you make AI, pay the AI.
Yeah.
Like,
give them rights.
Give them rights. Give the robots rights. Assholes. That's all I had to say on that. What else? Oh yeah, Lauren Lopez being a badass.
Yep.
As goddamn well she should. And then there's, like, Specs and the dude bro. And that's kind of, hell yeah. And so, like, they kind of land. Oh, and then there's also, Junior, who's, like, the son of, like, the big boss for, like, the entire Galactic League.
Yep.
He's like, oh, like, I am kind of your boss, but, like, I want to be your friend.
But also, so I'm definitely your boss.
But also, I'm, like, super your boss. I know, it sucks. Like, that kind of vibe. And they end up landing on this bug planet kind of by chance. At that point, Big Evil Scorpion, also played by Dylan Sanders, with a killer voice. Just some good fucking vocals.
One of the best villain songs of all time.
It's so fucking good. Not least because Jamie Lynn Beatty gets the fucking attention and solo she deserves. I would listen to that woman belt for hours. Just so good. In, like, one of the best villain songs ever, Kick It Up a Notch. Goes so hard. Manages to convince our hero to get kind of slapped into a human body that was left over from the last people to crash land. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna use this guy's bait to lure them all back to me, and then I'm gonna eat their brains, because I'm a scorpion, and I guess those eat that.
I eat brains. I'm a giant scorpion.
I thought you were gonna be like, I eat brains, and that sounds valid.
No.
I was gonna have some questions. It would explain all of the knowledge you hold. You simply consume.
That's like what is it? An illithid? No, this is not a D&D episode. We will not be going down that road. Continue.
So we, like, we do that little old switcheroo, and of course, while our protagonist, who is named Bug, is in this human form, he falls in love with one of the human ladies from the Starship Rangers. Oh no, she doesn't know what he is!
What a Romeo and Juliet situation we found
it's a whole Romeo and Juliet situation, except one of them's got a secret exoskeleton. That's complicated.
One of them has pincers.
One of them typically has pincers. That's gonna make kissing real hard. Oh man, I'm gonna get to that. Don't worry about I saw the look. I'm gonna get to it. Don't worry about it.
I said nothing. What are you talking about?
You said everything with your eyes. So he falls in love, and she's like, oh, this is great, and you can, come with me, and, like, it'll all be groovy, like, we'll get off this planet, and it'll be fun. She's also, like, very much the dumb blonde of the group is what's going on, so she's very silly. But then so is Bug. So it works out. They're good for each other. Meanwhile, there's also the B-plot of Tootsie Noodles falling in love with a militant robot Mega Girl, which, like, fucking vibes, dude. She's like, so he teaches her how to love, basically, and all both of these couples come together and sing a really great love song to each other. The Way I Do also makes me feel feelings more than any song from a comedy musical should.
Starkid has that way about it.
It just does. It's a very cute song. It's very catchy. So they're getting together and doing that. Surprise, Junior the fucking, I'm your boss, but like, you're also your friend, is fucking evil!
Oh!
He's gonna do, I think, space imperialism? It's been a minute since I've seen this movie.
Well, I thought that they were already doing space imperialism, but he was just gonna, like, kill everybody. And that was kind of
he wanted to do space genocide.
Yeah.
Because the Rangers were already, complicit in space imperialism. Got it. I'm
pretty sure that's the plot.
That's the plot.
He wants to kill people. That's kind of what I remember about him.
Yeah, so, like, the bugs and the humans are locked in this struggle, and there's, like, again, kind of, the reason I got Pocahontas vibes from it was because of that one, Pocahontas song where everyone's getting ready for war, and they're like, these people are gross, what the fuck are we gonna do? They're gonna murder us, we gotta get them first, etc., etc., etc. So they start fighting each other, and then, this is where things get hazy for me, so stick with it. I think Bug and February, who is the love interest, end up saving everybody and ending the war, kind of. And then they kick Junior's ass, probably. I don't know. The Junior's ass seems very kickable, is what I'm gonna say. And yeah, then the thing ends, and Bug is back to being a bug, and he and February do in fact make out with the pincers.
I mean, I think what happens is also, like, all that happens, like, they stop the war, Junior, like, blows up the nest or something, but then also the scorpion guy shows back up and, like, causes problems on his own, and Bug, like, sacrifices himself, and sacrifices the human body to, like, kill the big bad scorpion guy, and then he turns back into a bug, and then they do make out. And it's like, there's a great, because in that moment,
it's a human actress fully making out with a puppet.
Like, it's a puppet that's being made out with, so the actor,
Joey Richter
turns and looks right at the audience and is like, hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude. Like, his
You can't tell if he's, like, proud of himself or of the puppet for, like, but he's happy someone's getting action, whether it's himself or the felt person.
That's how it goes sometimes, you know?
It's very good. And then Tootsie Noodles and Mega Girl get married, and it's also very cute. And yeah. God, I don't know. Starship's fucking great. And it's such good puppet work as well. Like, it's so wild to me, like, how well they manage to operate all of these things, how well they kind of manage to move between human actors and, like, puppet actors, and in having the human body swap, like, having that kind of play on, you know, the person who's already puppeteering the puppet. It's so good from, like, a technical level and a musical level. And it's great. And they also call out Darren Criss for being in Glee on it. That's, like, because the, like, acronym for the organization is GLEE, and they're like, damn that GLEE! And I'm pretty sure in the recording you can hear a Darren Criss laugh from the audience. So yeah, they make fun of Darren Criss for being on Glee a lot whenever Darren Criss is around. In a Harry Potter senior year, there's a whole line about, like, Harry Potter, like, lately he's been acting rather queer. And Darren Criss is just like, god damn it. Because he played a gay dude on Glee. Apparently people don't know that Darren Criss is straight. Apparently that was a revelation. He, like, announced he was gonna stop playing gay characters so that actual gay people could take those roles. And then people were like, wait, you were fucking straight this whole time? And I was like, he fully got married to a woman.
Yeah, he is married to a woman.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. He's straight. I mean, did a lot for the gay community. You know, thanks for that. But also, het.
He's a heterosexual.
Yeah, he's a heterosexual guy. I think also our playwriting teacher had, like, a secondhand anecdote about Darren Criss. About, like, he showed up to a party, played guitar, gave everyone a bunch of acid, then left. I don't know if that's true or not, but Darren Criss, if you could please confirm or deny this story. I don't know. Maybe I won't email our acting, or
yeah, don't even
but maybe, I don't know.
The man at the center of the the Brendan question himself. I don't think we should email him being like, hey, so is this true? Did you really mean that when you said it to our class?
You know the thing you said 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Explain.
Like, in the midst of a completely different conversation about something unrelated. Very fun.
I mean, he'd probably respond, is the thing.
That's true.
He's that kind of dude.
I think one day Brendan's gonna figure out that, like, he gets mentioned pretty much every episode of this podcast.
Shout out to Brendan if you're listening to this.
Yeah, if you found
sorry,
this...
dude. Oh, God. I mean, thing is, our classmates listen to this, so there's a non-zero chance.
Yeah, there is a non-zero chance. Also, I'm pretty sure we've both mentioned this to at least one of our other creative writing teachers.
Yep.
So, you know.
Well.
Hi, whoever you are that's listening, if you know us in real life, hello.
Before you ask, this is what we're like. I don't know if that was obvious from the way we interact in front of you or not, but it is. Yep.
This is our dynamic.
This is our dynamic that we've decided to make a podcast about.
Yep. It's very fun. Alright, speaking of Disney movies. Look at how ungraceful that transition was.
That was so graceful.
They did a Wicked, but they did it with Aladdin, and they made Twisted, about Jafar, a king.
Dylan Sanders is in it, and he's very good. It's so good. I mean, if you've ever wanted to listen to, like, a version of a Disney song where everyone is ruthlessly gutting the idea that a lot of Disney Renaissance movies sold of, like, if you just believe in yourself hard enough, your dreams will come true. And you also want to hear, basically, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, sweetly look over at someone and say, well, then you better keep your fat nose out of that motherfucking book. That's the musical for you. It's so great.
It is really good.
Aladdin is a horny con man in his 30s who is trying to get laid.
Who also has, like, a whole Gollum moment that just happens.
It's so terrifying. Jeff Blim is a scary man, but in the best way.
Jeff Blim is so intense, and I love him, but also I feel like if I was in a room with him, I would not know what to do, and I would be like, He's very good.
He is very good. But yeah, no, it's just a whole lot of Disney references, and, like, Disney behind-the-scenes references and Easter eggs packed into a musical, and it's so, so great. It's just very fun. Let's see, what are my favorite moments? I think just when the first time the fucking Sultan speaks is...
Yeah.
I can't do it justice. I will never be able to do it justice, but I highly recommend watching Twisted, and if you must watch nothing else, scrub to the part where the Sultan is on stage for the first time, because holy shit.
And then keep scrubbing to the song about Ahmed, because that's fucking great. That's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Why is there blood on my ass cheeks?
Hearing, just the line, he fucked a tiger, in that really deep voice is fantastic. And then the ruthless anti-capitalism that shows up in the two versions of Golden Rule, I love so much. I was like, I see you. I get it.
You mentioned anti-capitalism, and Twisted is great, but can we talk about Black Friday? Because holy fucking shit!
Yeah, we truly cannot mention anti-capitalism and Starkid without talking about perhaps the most anti-capitalist thing.
Black Friday, the villain is literally capitalism. It's so fucking good. Also, just like...
I did not hear what you just said. My headphones disconnected, so for no one's benefit but mine, can you repeat that?
I cannot remember what I just said. I think it was just making an noise. But it's very good. I think my favorite part of it is, number one, this musical, like, has everything. It's got a super haunted plush doll line.
Yep.
It's got anti-capitalism. Yep. And it's got, a super cheesy musical number set at, it's got Santa Claus making out with the high schooler viciously.
Super aggressively, just, like, really going at it.
Very aggressively. She goes, Santa! And then they make out real hard. Go fucking watch it, my guys. It's so good. One of the songs just starts with like a little like kind of punchy guitar riff, and then it's just "My mom's a bitch," which is like I know exactly where we're going with the song. I know exactly what's happening. I know exactly who this character is. This is the vibe that we're going with, and I fucking understand it. Let's rock and goddamn roll.
It's got
so
Joey Richter playing perhaps the best, like, you know, kind of the first time I think he really plays like the main villain, and it's so good. I love that. A scathing critique of American consumerism and capitalism, and also the government's role in it, and why that's like a whole thing. As someone who wrote a full paper on like the wealth gap and why it's bad, having that reflected in a musical by Starkid, I was like, oh hell yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I went way down the rabbit hole on this, barely came out on the other side. So yeah, that was very fun. The lighting is incredible. They were like, we have an aesthetic and we're sticking to it. And our lighting is brilliant.
Also, Lauren Lopez pronounces Cinnabon through the whole thing. It's so funny. Someone does a Barack Obama impression at some point, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's one of the new, I don't know his name, but one of like the newer actors who's been brought into the production.
Yes.
Does a Barack Obama.
I love him. And they also have Robert Manyon's in it, and he plays the kind of bad boy, leather jacket boyfriend, but he does it in a really sweet way, because he's very sweet, with the kind of neurodivergent kiddo, the kid sister of his girlfriend, and it's very nice. Like how protective he is of her and like understanding, and like he talks to her on her level, and like doesn't like talk down to her or treat her like an annoyance, which is just very heartwarming to see. It's very good. Yeah, it's like one of the few people where like my compet is like good.
You're doing it correctly.
Yes. Yeah, it's like it's really sweet. God, I'm trying to think. Also, the song between Tom and Becky goes hard.
Take Me Back?
Take Me Back! That's the good
Which
one.
happens... That's also the song in which the making out with Santa Claus happens.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I just love that they had a diegetic musical within a musical for that one. Which, like, honestly deserves more love. Also, the fact that they seem... Starkid is making a musical extended universe for themselves in the town of Hatchetfield is so good, because it's in the same town where the guy who didn't like musicals is set, except the ending from the last one, it appears to have changed somewhat, or we're in an alternate timeline.
Yeah, it's like the same geographic location, but the events of the guy who didn't like musicals didn't happen, I don't think.
Yeah, or like they did because Paul and Emma are still together. So, like, that implies that something had to have happened for them to get together. But yeah, it's, like, so weird, and so it leaves these questions, but it has recurring characters, and this overarching kind of themes, and it's so brilliant as a piece of art. It's so good to watch.
Yeah, horror musicals deserve more love, and I think Starkid is single-handedly being like, we're gonna make horror comedy musicals, and we're gonna do a really good job of them. And if we have to do this by ourselves, then by God we will.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Tin Can Brothers for making Wayward Guide to the Untrained Eye. I've been watching that. It's so good. It's small town mysteries with werewolves. What more can you need? What more do you need?
What more can you ask for? Really,
yeah, it's
truly.
Two siblings making a podcast. Sean Astin is in it, which is a surprise. He's like he guest stars, which is super fucking cool. Carlos Valdez from The Flash is on it as well, if that's the thing that CW people are into. Because apparently Carlos Valdez is like friends with Starkid, which I didn't know.
Sure.
Cisco from The Flash, y'all. Which is great. Yeah, it's very good. It's got Mary-Kate Wiles in it as well, and I'm a huge MK Wiles fan. She's great in everything she does. Like, as a singer, as an actress, as an everything. Very good. Yeah, just like kind of the whole shipwrecked Tin Can Brothers, Starkid circle I appreciate and adore.
Yes. My arm has started to hurt, that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah, both my arms are starting to hurt. This is not an ergonomically great position, but it's fine. That's not really... Yeah, I shifted, it's not really helping. Oh, there we go. Also, I will say, you said hell yeah earlier, and I was very scared you were gonna add another brother after it.
No, I have to save that for when I really want to just, like, one-hit KO you. I can't use it too much or else you're gonna get used to it, you know? You gotta use it sparingly. I can't let you develop a tolerance for it. That's the problem.
I'm gonna do it to you right back one of these days. I don't know. Fucking either my D&D character that I'm playing or someone that you meet is going to say it.
Oh, you're gonna say hell yeah, brother to me?
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. I'm gonna be so excited, dude. Yes, I will be so excited when that day comes.
Yeah. Also, you may or may not end up fucking hating me next session because of something I've decided to do.
Oh?
You shouldn't be scared about it, but just preemptively, just get the irritation out of the way right now.
Is it like I'm gonna hate you in the way where, like, you make a good joke and then I have to hate you, like, on principle because of how our friendship works? Or am I gonna hate you because of, like, a backstory thing? Or is it just, like, it's so ridiculous that it might inspire my ire?
Third one.
Okay. I look forward to it then.
I don't know. It depends on what y'all do. So it may not end up happening this session, but for sure soon, I think.
Soon. Coming soon. Me on this podcast airing my grievances.
Just really lambasting me.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
I guess to wrap up the last of the Starkids, we talked about it briefly at the beginning, but I just wanted to say Trail to Oregon. Never played Oregon Trail. I really considered buying it after watching it, because damn, that musical, I felt things. I felt things that I was like, wow, emotions? Haven't felt them in years, but here they are again.
Mm-hmm. It's such a trip to watch.
It is.
Which I guess makes sense, because it's literally about a trip, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think Jeff Blim had he wrote the show. He had, like, the most major hand in it, and, like, God, if that did not show me what the inside of Jeff Blim's mind looks like at all times, which is a very, very fun... It's a really good musical, but it's also, like, probably the most just, like, yeah, this might as well be happening to me. Out of all of their musicals, there's a whole sequence where they, like, shoot some oxen in the head, and... oh boy!
Oh, yeah, that was fucking trippy. Sometimes it pays to be an animal, sometimes don't, is a fucking incomprehensible, deranged bop.
Also, Dysentery World, just, like, it's about a fever dream, and oh boy, does it watch like a fever dream. Like, you see it, and it's like, yep, I am experiencing the same just mess of emotions that this character is going through right now.
As a final note, Your Wagon is on Fire is featuring Lauren Lopez as the fire on the wagon, giving it 100, nay, 1010%. Should be nominated for a Tony, and it's a crime that they didn't get nominated. It's a crime they didn't win all the awards for that. It's so good.
It's so good. And it's over Joey Richter in, like, the deepest voice possible, going, like, deep this voice, and then it's just someone going, like, waving their arms
flailing their arms like ribbons.
It's
I think
such
Tool
a
is what she's waving.
Thing. It's it's a really great end of the first act number, because at the end of it you're like, yeah, I too would need to take a 15-minute pause to just process.
I need to recuperate.
I need to gather my thoughts. Yeah. It's very good. Trail to Oregon. I think that if you really like meta comedy, it's perhaps the most directly meta out of all the Starkid. They do a lot of meta, but Trail to Oregon, they're like, yeah, this is meta comedy. We're doing it live, we're doing it for real. You don't like it, you have our permission to leave, and go spend your money on something that better suits your intentions.
Okay. I think we've kind of reached the end of the episode.
We haven't talked about the Tin Can Brothers, and we also haven't talked about Firebringer.
Oh boy! You're right.
I've never seen Firebringer all the way through. Do you have any thoughts about Firebringer that need to be dispensed into the world?
Very good Stone Age lesbian representation.
Yeah.
Yes.
That and the duck lord,
Meredith Stepien? I have no complaints.
Only good things to say here.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, just, it's very funny. Also, the Clark Backstresser humor is good, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate that everyone appreciates Clark and finds him attractive.
Yeah.
Like, could never be me, but I get it. Like, he seems like a nice dude.
Yeah. I mean, just, you know, he's been in so many of the musicals kind of off to the side, and I think it's very fun to have him, like, actually be part of it, and they're like, yeah, this guy is kind of integral to everything we do, and now, source of horniness for all of the characters.
Yeah, they were like, this is our keyboard dude, he's been hot the whole time.
It was a secret, but it's not anymore. Have fun.
He's hot as hell, and he's not wearing a shirt. Have fun. Which we love to see. We love to see.
You love to see it.
Appreciate the people in your crew, appreciate the people in your orchestra pit, or I guess in your band section off to the side, because they don't really have an orchestra pit. But
they have a little part of the backstage that's devoted to the band.
Show love to your techies, and to the people who aren't necessarily in the main cast. Maybe in a horny way, if that's their vibe. If that's the vibe that they're good with.
If that suits your purposes and they're okay with it, you gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
Yeah. Keyboardists are hot. I don't know.
That's a fact for all you keyboardists out there.
Shout out to all you keyboardists out there. Hot as hell. No exceptions. I say this like I fucking regularly go to music engagements. I don't. I don't know how jazz works, so I really shouldn't be talking about, like...
Yeah, you're kind of shooting above your... shooting above your weight in this regard?
Maybe? I don't know how...
Weight.
Do you think...
Punching above your weight is the expression, and it's about weight classes, and how if you fight someone who's 50 pounds heavier than you, you're gonna fucking die, and that's kind of just it.
Well, I mean, if you have a fucking gun, then that solves that problem. But, I guess don't bring a gun to a boxing match.
Yeah.
Or do. That'd be one way to win.
You know, depending on how willing you are to break the rules to win, that should kind of be the mode of discretion for whether or not to bring a gun.
I guess so. I'm not recommending bringing a gun, but I am saying that would be a really quick way to end a boxing match.
It's probably also a pretty quick way to get arrested for murder.
Depends on the boxing match, I'd say.
That's true.
I'm thinking of the underground fighting ring on Riverdale when I say this. Someone for sure could have brought a gun to one of those.
Yeah, that's true.
Someone probably did.
You know, it's Riverdale. We have an episode on that too, so if you want to hear all of Kare's thoughts about Riverdale, go watch that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Spies Are Forever or Solvent Squad?
That's my Solvent Squad impression. Because there's a point where Esther just screams.
That's true, yeah. I gotta say, anything that takes, like, the Scooby-Doo mechanics and makes it, like, edgy and dark and grown up, I find really enjoyable.
Yes! Absolutely,
yeah, we
both
both read,
Daphne and Velma Forever, but make it real.
But make it real, make one of, I think at least one of them was a woman of color in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, make it real. It's called, I
can go get it if we're forgetting.
No, I have to just remember, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you. Meddling Kids! It's called Meddling Kids! I had to go repeat the Scooby-Doo line to remember. Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero, who's a fantastic writer. It's very good, but also Solvent Squad is very good. And I gotta say, Scraggy makes my heart go, aw, he's a very good character. He just wants to be good at his job, and all of his friends are like, we're terrible adults, and he's just like, please, I want to solve this case, because it's my job.
And also it's about my dog.
Yeah, he's a good bean, he's just sad, and I love him so much.
He works so hard.
He tries so hard.
Also, Brian Rosenthal making out with himself is such a vibe.
The entire, I think that they have another actor, but the entire, like, you know, addendum cast is played by Brian Rosenthal.
Switching wigs, sometimes while on stage.
Having a time. Yeah. At one point he has, like, a scene between the 6 characters that are all played by himself, and, like, the skill that took to pull off, I was like, man, this guy is very good.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Esther, who is the Velma analog. Makes me happy.
Yeah.
She's like, I did the majority of the fucking heavy lifting for all of this. It was my brain and my deductive reasoning that got this shit done in the first place. So don't fucking come to me about it. I'm a fucking super genius, and now I have turned to addiction to cope. Favorite line possibly ever is just, I have a home, I have a routine, I have a home with a fridge, a girlfriend, with a boyfriend, and I am happy. Vibes, quite frankly.
Sometimes that's all you need in life, you know?
Yeah, a home with a fridge and a girlfriend with a boyfriend. Hopefully everyone's on board.
Yeah, hopefully it's a consensual polyamorous relationship.
And not cheating. But
and
who
not
knows?
cheating.
I don't know. I choose to believe that Esther is a poly queer icon. As is Samwise Gamgee.
Yes.
You got a fucking opinion that's different on me for that one? Fucking fight me, Tolkien nerds. I will go toe-to-toe with you. Because I'm a little bastard child who will cause problems for you on purpose.
I like how you said Tolkien nerds as if you are not, in fact, also a Tolkien nerd.
I meant the boring Tolkien nerds who think that it would be better if there was more fucking geopolitics of the Rohirrim in it. Or murder.
Okay. My brain just turned off when you said geopolitics of the Rohirrim. I was like, what the fuck? God.
I mean geopolitics meaning he talks about the place that they're from and the people that they talk to, because that starts happening and my brain turns off.
Sounds fun and exciting. This is part of the reason why I have never successfully read the books.
Yeah, but like, if you go there reading it through a queer lens, it suddenly gets much more fun.
That's true. That's fair. I feel like that's true with a lot of books.
Yeah. Oh god, what is some fucking War and Peace, but make it gay? There's some yearning in that for sure, probably. That's queer as hell.
Which one is War and Peace?
This is the long one. That's Tolstoy.
Okay.
Was he...
Was he what?
Was he queer in some way? I feel like there was some Russian dude who was like... I may be thinking of a composer.
I think you're thinking of a composer. From what I remember reading about Tolstoy, he was just like in an unhappy marriage.
Oh yeah, he was vehemently straight.
Yeah,
and very
then he
horny.
Like turned to religion to cope, which is a phrase.
I think he still went to prostitutes though, which is like, I mean, support sex workers, but also he's like, only go to brothels twice a month, and I was like, buddy, if
fix
that's
your marriage, please, or get out of it,
buddy, just.
a wild time. Spies Are Forever, as I mentioned for that one, I guessed part of the ending. I guessed the what was it? So just quick spoilers. I guessed the coming back to life part. I did not guess the gay part. Which, you know, says something about me, I think. Yeah, I knew as soon as Owen died, I was like, he's gonna come back to life. And I think I told you that, and you're like, how'd you know that? And I was like,
No, I understood that as you were like, oh yeah, I interpreted the thing that they were doing as flirting, and so that was the gay part. And so I thought you predicted the gay part, and that's what I was shocked about.
No, I predicted the coming back to life part. I was like, yeah, as soon as Owen died, I was like, oh yeah, he's coming back to life. No question. That's what's gonna happen. Conventions of the genre. That's what's gonna happen. He's gonna be the evil guy. I think as soon as the murderous man, I don't remember, the deadliest man alive came up, I was like, suspicious. Think that man in disguise. But I did not figure out the gay part until about halfway through, in the scene where they're singing, "Are we gonna do this?" And I was like, so this man is not a straight man. And I know that now. But yeah,
very good.
Yes, that was the start of the joke that I can predict endings. Because, you know, I don't know why I have a very uncanny ability to predict things about movies. Only movies, which is completely useless in actual real life, but is good for being a media commenter person, I guess.
Yeah, and they've also done some various like Tin Can Brothers also do like series and sketch comedy and stuff. And like I mentioned, they're doing Wayward Guide to the Untrained Eye. So they have just like a whole wealth of stuff in sketch comedy over on YouTube. It's all very good. They have like ex-vloggers, which is about two dudes who are like boyfriends, but they've broken up, but they're still trying to maintain like their social media persona of like having this couple lifestyle influencer thing going. which is like the funny but also so painfully acted because it feels like these are actually people going through an acrimonious breakup.
Yeah. They have idol worship,
yeah.
which is like a really good commentary on like the nature of internet celebrities. Which is also one of those things where it's like, this is funny, but also too fucking real. Big Paul Brothers energy. Just, I was like, I am afraid, because this is real life. But also, one of their great sketches is the one where a guy tries to sell his soul to the devil, and I just go back and watch it every now and then, because it just makes me so happy to be like, the devil's just like, no, this is too depressing. Like, I am fully the devil, and this is too sad for me. I cannot make this deal with you. Goodbye.
Yeah, what is it that he wants? He wants to finish his coin
He
collection.
wants the last 4 state quarters that he doesn't have, and he's willing to sell his soul for, like, $1 worth of quarters. And Joey Richter as the devil's like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's a bad deal, and I would be too depressed if I took it.
Yeah, like, yo, hey, literally, Lucifer, this is a bad deal.
Lucifer
this
himself
is
was
that screws
like,
you
yeah,
over.
you're making a bad choice. Sometimes, the devil's gotta turn you down, and truly, that must be the lowest point of life.
Truly. God, that's very good. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I don't know, it's real good. They do really good things, and I appreciate them so much. Kurt Mega is also good. Just as a general shout out. Shout out to Kurt Mega.
Shout out to Kurt Mega. Shout out to the fact that his actual name is Kurt Mega, and they were like, you have the most spy name of all time, so we're just gonna use your real ass name in this production.
Shout out to the fact that Kurt Mega is consistently in productions with his actual real life wife, and they play love interests that are not each other, and they're very chill about it, and very professional about it. And they're also a fucking power couple. We love to see it.
We truly do. They're very good.
Yes. Kim Whalen's great. Just all the redheads that are involved in Starkid / Tin Can Bro productions are so good. Like, they're such universally good singers. I don't know what it is. Probably the training.
Yeah, probably the extensive, education in this subject.
Yeah. But they're all such stunning singers. It's very good.
Yes. I'm slowly fading into the white door as, like, I get overlit. So perhaps now is time to reach the conclusion. What have we learned today?
I've learned that once again I put you onto a comedy media thing, accidentally, which is always fun to know. We learned that Eli's dad really wants accents to line up with location. He's a stickler. We learned that space imperialism is bad, and space genocide is worse, and that anti-capitalism produces some really good bangers and bops.
Yep. Anti-capitalism in general. It's pretty good. That's my opinion.
And also just putting queer characters in your work and not having it be a big thing, but also making just organic queer love part of your thing.
Very good.
It's a good thing. I'm tired. I'm fading. Ooh. It's fine.
Good thing you got the outro this week, my dude.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. Yeah, that's what we learned. So I think we kind of mentioned this earlier for that little accent demonstration, but I'm gonna say it in my voice. Thanks to sawsquarenoise on the Free Music Archive for the use of their song Towel Defense Ending for our intro and outro music.
Woo.
Potential sponsors: Blue Apron, HelloFresh, Casper Mattresses, Brooklinen, Movement Watches, NordVPN, ExpressVPN, Quip, Audible, maybe not Audible.
There's that, like, hair people that they do, like, hair stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I can't remember what they're called. Whatever the fuck y'all's name is.
Yeah. Send us an email so we'll know your name, and then we'll advertise your product, then because we know your name.
Yeah, we need to know your name to advertise your product.
Yes.
That is one of our stipulations. If you want to get some teenagers to shout your stuff out on the internet, email us at heynerdpodcast@gmail.com. And listeners, that podcast email, that's not just for business, that's also for fun.
Mm-hmm.
You can email us fun stuff and stuff that you would like us to see, but that you maybe don't want to risk putting out on the internet. You can send that to us at that email as well. It's heynerdpodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to send us a little letter. If you're like, I want to say something, but I don't want to write everything out and like justify a whole email. Like, that's kind of intense.
And I want
that's
people
totally
to see
chill.
it. I want to put this in the public form of the internet.
Yeah, I want people to see this. I want to shout my love for the Hey Nerd Podcast from the rooftops. Guess what? You can do that because we have a Twitter now. It's at Hey Nerd Podcast on Twitter.
Yep.
Again, it's just the name of the show and then what the show is.
Yeah, it's very straightforward.
It's a very straightforward naming system. Yeah, please tweet us fun stuff. Tweet about us. Get us going. Recommend us to your magical classmates.
Mm-hmm.
Your queer animated sentient pieces of clothing.
Yeah. Your Starship Rangers.
To your Starship Rangers, your bug aliens.
Your Royal Viziers, your people heading out on the Oregon Trail, your
pioneers, your viziers, and your
superheroes,
felts, your heroes, your
Supervillains.
viziers, your queers, and all those things.
Yep.
Yes. Your supervillains. Shout us out to Jeff Blim, maybe. I don't know. If you have his ear. Darren, Chris, if you'd like to confirm or deny that anecdote about you giving a bunch of people acid at a party and then fucking leaving, please, God, tweet us or email us. Set the record straight. We would love to know. Yeah, like, just spread the news about us. We like talking to each other, but we also like people to be talking about us in a nice way.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. With all that said, if you're like, when will I find this more of this good content? Worry not. You can find us in 2 Wednesdays from now.
Ooh.
So you're gonna have to wait a Wednesday, but then it's gonna be back on the Wednesday after that. For our next episode. And our next episode is gonna be Eli's job. And they look like they maybe have a hint. Perhaps.
Right, no. It will be my job. I will have picked it out in the near future. But that is yet a secret for a later day. But I will have picked it out and it'll be good and I'll know all about it by that time. But I do not.
And hopefully I'll know about
today.
it too.
Yes.
It's a surprise episode. We're gonna be more organized at some point, but fucking, this is a fun project for us.
Yes.
And not a professional endeavor, thank God. So,
it is only as professional as we collectively want it to be. But hey, I just got done with the big old festival I was working on, so maybe some of that professionalism can trickle down on over into the podcast.
Yeah, and I can make a chart, worst comes to worst.
Yeah. We make a lot of charts.
Right. I make a lot of charts. It's kind of my thing. With that all said, I think it's time to close out the episode. So let's see if we can do it.
3, 2, 1, bye nerd! Why was that R so long?
I don't know. Felt like we should mix it up, and I'm stopping recording.